Yeah, it ain't even a question how my dough flows. I'm good to these bad hoes, like my puss sweated. I'm driving.
Too sweet. Hi, welcome to JD Sports. I'm Jarrett Hood. That's Dwight. Follow, like, share, tell your friends. Do something like I tell you every week. None of you ever do. Want to start this show off, even though we're laughing, with some serious news. Shout out to all the people in Pittsburgh and the communities across the world. Like, it's just stop the violence. That's all I gotta say.
Stop the bullshit.
Stop the bullshit. Who cares about your political parties at this point? Just everyone stop the violence. That's the most. Human life means more than anything. That's all we gotta say. And shout out to all the Pittsburgh sports teams, by the way. As a sports show, I do want to, and somebody who hates the Penguins, clearly. They have handled this in all sport. The Penguins, the Steelers, the Pirates, they've all handled this with more than as good as you can do. They've donated, they've offered help in every way, shape, or form, bringing the victims in, telling them they can come to as many games as they want, all that kind of stuff. And of course, as I said, the Penguins, who donated, I think, the most money out of all of them. As somebody who obviously is never rooting for them to win on the ice, they are clearly doing the right thing off the ice. So I shout out to all of them, and to the victims, to the families, and all that. JD Sports, we hate to hear that.
Yep.
The other thing, since we are a sports show, before we start talking football and basketball and things that Dwight's really into, there was a major championship given out this week, even though if you watched the big national networks like ESPN, Fox, NBC, you wouldn't know that baseball even existed. Apparently the World Series happened.
Really?
Yeah. The Red Sox won it.
Who?
Yeah. It was weird. I woke up on Monday. They won it Sunday. I woke up Monday, and I'm pretty sure 3 of the 5 shows that I listened to, like, on the radio, started off with Tyronn Lue got fired.
That's a big story.
The World Series happened the night before, and nobody was talking about it. So
about that.
I want to quickly break down the World Series. The first 2 games, the difference in the entire series was the managing. The manager of the Dodgers, basically, and you know me, I'm an analytics guy. I'm here for the numbers taking over sports. He went to analytics on you. He sat his 4 best home run hitters in game 1 and 2 because they can't hit left-handed pitching. So the Red Sox just pitched left-handed pitching for the first 2 games. He literally sat his 4 best producing run players, which you win games by producing runs.
Being a nerd backfires.
Right. And so they're down 0-2 going back home. He then...
So, okay.
Well, what's up? No, please, I'm here for all these questions because I absolutely thought it was you know me, I'm an analytics guy.
Yeah, you're a nerd, right.
But,
so you're a nerd. Would you have done it?
No. I would have absolutely...
Is that a hindsight thing, or is that...
No. That was before. They announced it before the game. Before game 1, they announced their lineups, and I said it right then and there. This is a ridiculous... No, I wouldn't have done it.
This is why I say...
This is where I was getting to with the analytics thing. You know me. I am an analytics person. I am for the numbers being the thing in sports, but you need
It's not really a thing.
You need to have the human feel, though. Like, the human feel still has to be there.
Same argument I have all the time, but the numbers.
No, it has
the numbers.
I think you combine the two. I don't think you have to just go analytics or just go about the people. Where it's people are like you have to do one or the other. And
the eye test.
At some point, you have to just have the feel for it, and you have to understand that.
The eye test.
Look, the MVP of the series before, because they give out NL and ALCS, like, championship series before you get to the World Series, they give out an MVP for that series. The MVP for the NLCS didn't play in game 1 or 2 of the World Series. That's never happened in the history of baseball, the oldest sport in America. That has never happened.
Stupid.
And so they lose game 1 and 2. They go back to LA. They made a bunch of really bad decisions with their pitching. They ended up playing an 18-inning game because of it. They won the game, but they lost the war overall because of the 18-inning game. They ran out of pitchers, and then the next day, the Red Sox pitched 1 guy throughout most of the extra innings, so that all their dudes were fresh, and they won the next game. And then obviously they won the one after. Dave Roberts twice in LA after he finally had his lineup done the right way. He followed the numbers with the pitching staff, and my girlfriend watched it with me, so I guess she's my voucher. I was even saying, I know the numbers say this, but don't do it. And he did it anyways both times, and it backfired both times. They ended up losing the series. They lost 4-1, so I understand that...
Captivating stuff.
I understand that the Red Sox were the better team going into the series. I know that they were the more talented team, and I know that you feel like you have to do something strategic to get your advantage. but sometimes just putting your best players out there is enough. Like, you have to trust what has gotten you there, and he didn't trust what got him there, and that's what lost them the series. Ultimately, 2 years in a row they went to the World Series. 2 years in a row they lost the World Series. Last year was a lot closer. It was a 7-game series. This year they got absolutely dominated in 4 of the 5 games. Last year I thought it was, and this is me not being advanced with the times, I guess. I was really upset because there was 4 managers that made the playoffs last year fired. One of them was the Red Sox, and they won the World Series this year. The difference was coaching, so I was wrong on that one. Alex Cora was absolutely the right move. They fired their coach and they brought someone in better. The Dodgers are most likely going to fire their coach because it worked for everybody else when their coaches were making wrong moves. You know what I mean? So, like, it's one of those things. Hey, as a Phillies fan, throw Chase Utley in there, man. I love Chase, and he's one of these new players who will connect with the players and like blah 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 blah. Because I don't think that managers, other than in-game decisions, like Dave Roberts might not have made the lineup. That might have came from the GM where, hey, we're an analytics ball club, we're gonna do this. You know what I mean? Like they have more say in the everyday lineup than they ever did before. They don't really have in-game management of, like the managers do that obviously, but before the game I think the GMs do have some influence. So I'm not saying this was all Dave Roberts, but it comes down on him at the end of the day, and he's the one who's going to look for it. So shout out to the Boston Red Sox. They were the best team all season. They dominated that series. They looked really good, and their pitching staff was just a bunch of dudes who wanted the ball all the time. They had a guy named Navaldi who pitched 7 innings in extra innings. No other pitcher other than Babe Ruth has ever done that. Their entire staff, Chris Sale, starting pitcher, he wanted the ball in the last inning of the World Series. He wanted to be the closer because their closer pitched so many games in a row, so they weren't going to pitch Craig Kimbrell, their closer. Things like that. They just had a staff who were a bunch of dudes who were like, I don't care what my actual role is, I will do what it takes to win the World Series, and that's what you have to do in those situations. The other side of this, I do want to say, the future, everyone's like, oh, we thought the Cubs a couple years ago, the Astros last year, so I do think that people will catch up to them. Quickly then, one last baseball thing. Free agency starts 10 days after the World Series. Bryce Harper, Manny Machado, Clayton Kershaw are going to be the big 3 names to follow. Phillies fan again, they have pretty good odds to get one of the 3. It would be disappointing if they don't. I don't know where I stand on it right now. I would like Harper out of all of them. I want Trout 2 years from now, honestly, out of anybody, but I'm not going to be greedy on this one. If you can get any of the 4 players I just named, I will take. I know Machado wouldn't go over well in Philly because of his lackadaisical way he plays, but again, analytics take over. His numbers look good, even though when you're watching him, he looks like he doesn't care about baseball. He is a good baseball player. I don't know about $300 million worth. And that's the other side of this. I don't want to be the first team to give anybody $300 million because I'll be honest with you, as a Phillies fan, I know how other Phillies fans are, and the first time somebody strikes out with a $300 million contract, it is not going to go over well. And every baseball player strikes out. I mean, that's just how it is now. It's home runs or strikeouts are at an all-time high. And when you give somebody $300 million, he's just going to get 1 0 for 4 night is going to be the end of the world. It's probably all I got for baseball right now. Free agency will be fun. It's going to hit quick. It's going to come fast. I think Kershaw goes back to the Dodgers. That's really the only thing I have a prediction on. To sports, Dwight likes. To get my co-host involved. You watching any Thursday night game?
Is the grass green and the sky blue?
DeAndre Hopkins made a nice catch. That's about all I really saw from it. And Will Fuller got hurt for the season. Texans are back on track, though.
Sure.
All right. I'm going to assume you didn't watch the 9:30 game?
Hell no, I didn't watch the 9:30 game. I was up at 8:30 and watched a dumbass 9:30 game.
The Eagles did not look good through most of it.
Who?
Got the W.
Who? That team's going back to Super Bowl.
Super concerned about the offensive line. Last year, the difference between the Eagles and most teams where they had a good offensive line. This year, most of the game was basically offensive linemen chasing the defensive linemen who were chasing Carson. It's just, the Eagles got away with playing bad offensive line play on Sunday. They're not going to do that often. That's basically the most I have from it. I mean, the defense, Jim Schwartz, he still seems like he hasn't learned. He was still playing prevent defense and almost gave up the lead in the 4th quarter. It was very frustrating to watch. But I think everything that they have is correctable. I don't know if you can correct the offensive line, though. Like the defensive stuff, that's schemes. It seems like that's something they can coach and fix. I don't know how they're going to fix the offensive line with Jason Peters being hurt, Lane Johnson being hurt. Like, and if you don't have an offensive line, we talk about it all the time, you're not going to win anything in the NFL. So I would like to see moving forward how the Eagles' offensive line looks. Didn't look good on Sunday.
That long-winded soliloquy that you just had basically came down to the Eagles beat a terrible team.
No. And as I said,
absolutely
they got
nothing.
away with playing bad football on Sunday and won the football game. They're not going to do that. You're not going to play the way they played Sunday and win a lot of games in the NFL. That's clearly.
Great. So that long-winded speech that you just gave, exactly what I just said.
But I feel like a lot of people are taking
An average
it like.
team just beat a garbage.
But I feel like a lot of people are taking like the Eagles win as like.
Taking nothing as it. What you mean?
No. I thought it was really overblown on Sunday, and I didn't think it was as.
I don't think anybody was talking about it.
Good a win. Well,
Who was talking about the Eagles win against Jacksonville?
my entire Twitter.
Well, you follow nothing but Philadelphia nerds. So outside your little circle of. Oh, stop it. No one was talking. Nobody, as a non-Philadelphia person who follows the National, no one was talking about Philadelphia versus
I also feel like the
Jacksonville.
NFL Network tries to overhype the games that they have, so
Like,
that's probably
knock it
why. 1 o'clock games, getting into them, Denver played KC.
Mm-hmm.
Denver started off hot. Mahomes looked about like Mahomes. Denver ends up trading their wide receiver throughout the week because of it. We'll get into that. Washington, the Giants. Eli looked like Eli.
So trash, yeah.
The thing I want to say about Eli, the Giants asked him if he would waive his no-trade clause in the beginning of the week, and he said no.
Yeah, how's that working out? Because his
I was
backup got arrested, or...
I was going to say not well because Dwight came in here and told me about how his backup got arrested. So...
Yep. Evading police and nearly running over an officer, and it basically took the entire day to finally find this man, apparently, because I guess he was hiding. I don't know.
Yeah,
Where
I
are
don't
you
know
hiding
the
out in New York that they could have found this man?
New Jersey, probably.
I guess. Yeah, you're right. that was the problem. I get it.
So
it took till like 4 o'clock this afternoon to
he
finally
went to the
find
Giants
this.
practice facility. That's where it was. No one
And it
thought
was
to
in
look
New
for him
Jersey.
there. Yeah,
they were
right.
like
and
the
there-
Giants.
oh,
We're going to
yeah,
New
right,
York.
yeah.
No, got it.
Um,
So yeah, that's the thing.
it's a shame somebody like Colin Kaepernick isn't available for them.
Yeah, too bad he takes knees and shit. Which is so much worse than fucking damn near running over a police officer as a white guy who's not going to get charged with anything.
Actually, let's retroact back to so much worse than what the Jacksonville Jaguars players did. 4 of them got into a fight at a strip club the night before a football game, didn't pay a $36,000 tab in U.S. money, got into an altercation with the owner over it, went to jail, got released, and because the Jaguars didn't bring enough players to London, they were allowed to play on Sunday, and the Jaguars were allowed to discipline them later. They still haven't, as of a couple days later, disciplined them, but the Jaguars were allowed to discipline them after the game because they didn't bring enough people over to London.
What else are they supposed to do? I think that's funny.
Colin Kaepernick can't. He's a
What are they going
problem.
to do? Fly his ass over to
No,
England?
I'm not saying that, and they don't need a quarterback. That's not what I'm saying. My thing is we're going to consider, well, they need a quarterback. They didn't need a they didn't have a quarterback that was going to get suspended that they needed to fill the roster spot. You're right, they need a quarterback.
Fuck.
What my point is he's considered a problem, but that's not, that's a problem. Anyways, back to the Giants. Washington beat them. What are they, 5-2?
They did what they were supposed to do.
You believe 5-2 though? 7 weeks in? 7 games in?
No, they beat a garbage team.
I'm not just saying based off this
I don't
game.
believe in shit in Washington, no.
Same. Tampa Bay almost came the whole way back because they were losing like 38-0 to Cincy, and then
That's your second favorite team, right?
Tampa Bay decided to sit Jameis Winston. Fitzmagic came in there. Yeah, Jameis Winston's career is probably
Rest
done.
in peace.
So I was looking up
Rest
some
in
Jameis
peace.
Winston stats because
At this point, you sitting him, you're done with him.
oh yeah,
you're not going back.
No, and they should be. He is what he is. He has.
He is what you didn't think he was.
No, he never fixed the turnover issue out of college, and that was going to be the downfall of his career.
But Jameis, but he has one game.
He was so
and
good
every time
in college.
Every time he has one game in the but Jameis, what I tell you about this man, Jameis.
Haven't said that in a very long time because he
You
hasn't
said
looked
that
good
about
in
a
a
year
very
ago,
long
so
time.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, he probably had one good game last year, honestly.
You said it more than once.
But they're not. No, but so his turnover to ratio is just beyond. It's through the roof. It's too far.
He's terrible.
And it's to the point where it's done. The Jameis Winston experiment is most likely over. I don't see him being successful.
Ain't no most likely.
It's definitely over in Tampa. I think
Right.
somebody might give. I mean, Jacksonville might give him a chance. You know, somebody like
He'll
that.
get signed.
Right. But I don't. And the thing is, Tampa owes him so much money, so I don't even know if they're going to cut him. Like this, they're in a very weird position with Jameis Winston. They had him as a franchise quarterback. They just signed him 2 years ago, like a 6-year deal, like as a franchise quarterback.
When you make a move like this, you're clearly done with them. So
And he deserved to be benched. Quite frankly, he was horrible on Sunday.
he's been horrible all year.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been horrible for the last year and a half, if we're being honest. And like I said, the turnovers are just too far. He has never changed the turnover thing, and that was my biggest knock on Jameis. You're right. I thought Jameis would be a decent NFL quarterback, but I kept saying he had to fix the turnover issue, and he never did. He seemed so much smarter in college. I thought he would get it done. He never did. I was wrong.
Stop overhyping these players coming out of college, Jared Hood.
I mean, I'm right and wrong about certain players. It's fine.
Just
It's
stop
not
doing it.
overhyping.
Just stop doing it and wait. Just don't do it and wait. Don't do it and wait. Don't do it and wait.
I'm gonna have an opinion on these players, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Just don't do it and wait.
I'm always gonna have an opinion on them. I'm not gonna stop having opinions.
It's so
on
much
these guys.
easier just to wait.
Yeah, it is, but I don't really mind it. It's fine.
Can't stand you nut ass people.
I've been right sometimes.
Coming out of college, he was fire. Can't wait to see what he does. And
Yeah.
then it's
It's nice to see.
So
it's
just wait.
nice to see
Just
these players
wait.
grow. Sometimes
Just
he
wait.
didn't grow.
Correct.
He did not grow.
so wait.
So wait, what is so hard about waiting? Can you tell me that? What is
I
so
didn't
hard
say he
about
was going to
waiting?
be a Hall of Fame quarterback. I said I thought he
I
was
didn't
going to
say
be a
you
good
said that, so don't
quarterback.
put words in my mouth.
No.
I'm saying-
What I mean is, like,
Why
it's
don't you
not.
just wait?
It's not like I was out here like Jameis Winston's going to be the man. Like I thought
Right,
Jameis Winston was going to be
you
a
said
good
that.
quarterback.
Right, you're right. You said that about Manziel. I got you.
Again, wrong. You're right. You're absolutely right. And we
So
have.
just wait.
There's a laundry list of dudes that I was way right on as well. Like
So just wait.
it works both ways, and it's kind of what I like to do.
So just wait.
Nah.
You're right. Right. This is what y'all do.
What
This is
was
what
the
you
other-
college dudes do. You
What's the next
overhype
thing?
and get overexcited about their potential instead of just understanding the basis of reality, which is just wait 2 to 3 years. Give it 2 to 3 years, maybe 4. By the 4th year, by the 3rd, 4th year, you should have an idea where they're at. So just wait. Don't get overexcited about the first year. Don't get overexcited about the second year. Wait till by the 3rd year, then cool. Have an answer. Have something to say about it. You and every other college person that gets hype about these dudes.
Even if you
just
were
needs
to
relax.
even if you were to convince me to stop, you're still gonna have this issue that you're afraid of because no one else is
What am
gonna
I
stop.
afraid of? I'm not
Not
afraid of
that
anything.
you're mad at. That you're mad
I'm
at.
not mad at anything. I just don't understand you
Uh.
people because then this happens and then I'm like, well, see, relax. Just relax. I say this about the good and the bad players.
Yeah, no,
So,
you're consistent. You're not going to give any of them credit until they do
No.
it, and you're not going to say any of
Do
them
it
are bad.
consistently,
And
is
you
what
also
I'm saying.
and you also don't say any of them are bad until they
No.
actually are bad. Like you're not wrong there.
just wait.
The thing I was going to get to after Jameis was Fitzpatrick being the quarterback the rest of the year. You and I both know where we're at with Fitzpatrick. Seems like everyone else thinks that he still could lead this team to a division win, and they got the Saints and Carolina in that division.
No.
I'm
And
with you.
Atlanta's going to give you could potentially give you another L.
They'll give you
Even
two
if they
good
don't-
games. They'll
even
give
if
you
they
two
don't
good games,
win.
even if they win 5 games a year. They're going to give
Right.
you 2 good games.
Right. So, no.
Yeah, you're right. And they're talented.
Tampa Bay is not winning the division.
And I agree.
They're not getting second in the division.
And I agree. I think they're third, and the only reason they finished above Atlanta is because Atlanta's really bad start. Matt Ryan's played well, but no one else has.
Yeah, so, no.
That Tampa defense is super disappointing too. I thought they were going to take a step forward this year. They took a step backwards. They got 30-some points in like 3 quarters this week.
This is why Deshaun said, please trade me.
Yeah, you're absolutely, and they did. We're going to get into trades and everything after we talk about our pick, the week that happened. I picked Detroit to beat Seattle basically because it was a toss-up for me, and I really didn't know who was going to win going into the week, and I figured you picked Seattle. I was wrong on that one. Shouldn't trust Matthew Stafford, clearly. Seattle's secondary got beat up a little bit early in that game, but I thought without Earl Thomas for the first time, they actually looked pretty good this week. Their offense, though, finally clicking. They put up 30 points. In the last 5 weeks, they have had the most production on offense across the NFL, which is incredible because outside of like Doug Baldwin and Russell Wilson, it's not a bunch of stars, you know? So it is pretty fun to watch. They fixed their offensive line, which we talked about was a problem last year. Seattle is one of those sleeper teams because they have the Rams in their own division that like you're not going to talk about. Seattle's one of those teams that I do think could sneak up on teams. they got to get hot late. They got to keep playing this well offensively late, and they got to sustain it defensively. I don't know if that's possible.
I don't see that happening.
But I do want to give them credit where it's due. The last 5 weeks, they have been off the charts good offensively, and it's a start. It's better than what we expected. Chicago and the Jets happened about how we thought Chicago and the Jets would go. Baltimore and Carolina, big game. Carolina's offense against a Baltimore defense that was rated really high in almost every category going into the week. Carolina's offense looked like they were just rolling over them, and I don't know. Some weeks, now this year, Cam has had, excluding his 2015, obviously, MVP year, this is probably his best year other than that in his career to this point.
The funny thing is I have the Ravens defense on my fantasy team, and I was just like, I just don't think they're going to be able to stop Carolina. And then all I was hearing up until and even during the first quarter of that game was Baltimore's the number one defense in the NFL. They're going to.
Yeah, their numbers were.
Did it, and I was just like, well.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not too crazy because I just don't like. I'm not saying that Baltimore has a bad defense by any means, but I'm just like I don't feel like it was what the hype and what the numbers were saying that they are. Like,
I think
they're good.
And I think
they might be solid, but they're. I was like number one. I was like, stop it. In Carolina, I was like, Cam's going to do.
Cam
something.
plays well in Carolina over his whole entire career. That's for sure.
I didn't think they were going to hold them, and they damn sure.
You and I have had the conversation all off season leading up to this season, but even the best defense, right? Even how good the Ravens are, right? They're gonna look bad this year because of the way the rules are now. And now they had a bad game. I'm not saying that Carolina didn't do the right thing, but just because of it, like the best defenses are gonna give up 30 points sometimes this year. And that's crazy. I don't think there's going to be one team that doesn't have one game that they don't give up 30 points this year. But that's crazy. We've never been there before as an NFL. So to see that, not surprised, but at the same time, how good the Ravens defense is, you got to feel good if you're Carolina, especially 17 points in the fourth quarter of the week before, or 21 points in the fourth quarter of the week before to win the game. Steamrolls into what you do the next week. Carolina becomes a dangerous team looking forward. Cam Newton, though, we talk about how much I really like him, obviously.
Every single fucking week.
Mm-hmm. And this was one of his better weeks since we've had JD Sports, so of course I'm in my shine.
Cool.
But they have New Orleans in their division, so moving forward, we're definitely be talking about New Orleans and Carolina, and obviously we think New Orleans is the better team. I'm interested though to see if Carolina's offense can sustain this, because if they can all season, right, and I don't know. It's not that I don't believe McCaffrey. It's just I don't know. He's just not. Doesn't seem like the everyday.
Good, but no. That's,
right, but he's playing better than what we could have expected he would be even doing this year. And Cam's playing way better.
Him and Cam ain't enough.
Right, and that's where I'm at. They have a decent offensive line, but outside of that, I don't know. Greg Olsen, but Greg Olsen's playing on a broken foot right now. I mean, if
we're talking about the Baltimore Ravens defense. Yeah. So even not even knowing a number, say you don't know anything about their numbers, and knowing that they were ranked number one apparently overall, which I didn't know until I was told that this week. Would you think that they would be the number one overall defense? Because I would assume it would be the Bears.
I didn't.
Or the Rams.
I was gonna say I did know going into the week that the Ravens had the number one overall defense, but I'm with you. It was
Perception says it's the other two.
Right. It was still. I still didn't think they were the best defense. I knew that by the numbers they were the best defense, but I'm with you. Yeah, I think there's a couple of defense that are a little. Rams. Yeah, I would probably. On paper, especially we're gonna get there about the trade they just made. But yeah, for sure. Even before that trade, without question, I would have picked the Rams, especially at full health. I mean, I don't even think it's close at full health. In the Bears, when they have Khalil Mack, I mean, he's like an Aaron Rodgers for some reason for a defense where he's making that big of an impact. Not that the Bears didn't have a good defense before then. But yeah, no, you're the other side of it is the Ravens offense holds the ball a lot, so I think that probably helps the numbers. Ravens offense did not look good this week against a good Carolina defense, but you're going to have to beat teams like the Carolina Panthers in the playoffs or get to the playoffs. And if they look like they did, who I believed in Baltimore, getting a little shaky. That's the first time, by the way. You know how I always talk about Joe Flacco doesn't really get blown out? That's the first time Joe Flacco has lost by 10 points in like 4.5 years. That's an insane stat.
Still not late. Still that out there.
Cleveland taking on Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh played really, really bad and won 33-16.
Mazel.
That's crazy. as somebody who thought Baker Mayfield should be the number 1 overall pick, he doesn't look good. I'll be honest. He doesn't look good.
And then while I'm tilting the Hulk Hogan ear,
but again, I mean,
but not you, but people have been saying, and I'm gonna say this every week, every time they lose, especially. But Baltimore, they've only lost by so many points, and they should really be 5-0, 6, 7, 8-0.
nah, Cleveland doesn't look bad.
But they've only lost by like 4 or 5 points every game.
Their offense is not moving the ball well. Outside of one game in Oakland, they haven't moved the ball.
Cleveland agrees so hard. That's why Hugh Jackson's still right. Oh wait, he's not.
That's what I was gonna get to here. When we were talking Cleveland, here's what I was gonna get to.
Cleveland, this is for you. Take a L.
1-31 in the first 2 years.
Terrible. That's worse than Jason Garrett numbers.
Yeah. It's worse than Jeff Fisher numbers. 1-31 in the first 2 years, right? That wasn't enough to know you needed to fire him. You needed the other 5 losses this year to know it's about time. The 5 losses and a tie. This man, 3-36-1. He literally only had 2 less ties than he did wins in 3 years.
It's horrible.
3-36-1. What did you need this?
This is the worst part about, because it's the Cleveland Browns.
What did you need these 8? This is so dysfunctional. You are holding Baker Mayfield. Now, again,
this is the worst part.
I don't know how Baker's going to be in the future, but didn't you just waste the last 6 months now of your number 1 overall pick?
1, 2. In saying that, you just handicapped his progression.
That was the other side I was thinking.
If there even is one now.
Right, and his future for the next 4 months is also hindered until you find a long-term coach.
3, can we even say it's Hugh Jackson's fault? Or can we just say it's the fucking Cleveland Browns' fault? Like, this is the Cleveland
Yeah, no, you're not wrong on that one. As bad as Hugh Jackson was, it's the Cleveland Browns. And how good could he have been?
To go back to the first 2 points, now you just halted or fucked up completely Baker Mayfield's progression.
You didn't need...
Because now he's going to start over. He's already a rookie who's...
They fired his offensive coordinator. They fired his offensive coordinator as well, Todd Haley. So
now you're starting over again.
You didn't need the first 8 games this year to know how you felt about Hugh Jackson, and that's my biggest thing right now. Like if you thought you were, what did they think you were going to go 8-8?
So here you are. You're the Cleveland Browns. You signed another coach. Let's say whoever the hell.
They have 2 wins right now, more than they had last year.
I'm just talking out my ass. Let's say they signed a top college football coach who's going to come out.
Lincoln Riley, which he's not going to.
Sure,
that's
cool. Go with that, right?
Yeah.
Let's say he don't believe in Baker Mayfield, and now guess what? Baker Mayfield's trying to get a job because he can't get a job because the Cleveland Browns said we don't want you and you suck. Now all of a sudden there's a stigma because you're a Cleveland Browns quarterback and you quote unquote suck, even though you really don't.
Right, even though he might not. You know, you're wrong.
Now we're going through the cycle again.
And I've said this about many of Cleveland Brown quarterbacks over the last couple of years. Some of them I actually thought could maybe have been decent, but they were so beat up or so hindered throughout their career in Cleveland that they had no career afterwards, clearly.
Right. And now you're putting Baker Mayfield in the same predicament.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I shouldn't have used Lincoln Riley because Lincoln Riley was his college coach, so he does believe him. But I know what you're saying. You bring in a coach who doesn't believe in Baker Mayfield, and then Baker Mayfield gets put on the street, and then what happened? You not only hindered your future, you hindered this kid's future for really no reason.
And then we're back at it again. We're back at
the Cleveland Browns, who are 2-5-1.
Who are you going to draft? Who are you going to draft?
Number 1 overall.
Who are you going to draft? And then we're back in that cycle again.
And that's the Cleveland Browns as a whole organization since you and I have been watching football, basically.
Basically, that's exactly
since our whole lives of Cleveland Browns football have been that.
And that's part of the reason why I don't get excited or hype about or give a shit about the NFL draft because you put these kids in these situations, and unfortunately, whether it's his fault or not, whether he has the talent or not, now Baker Mayfield's in a situation where either he succeeds in spite of the Browns, or he succeeds because he is that good. But the odds are going to say he's not going to because this is the history of the Cleveland Browns. This is the history of the quarterbacks that come through that program because, we bring in a quarterback who we think is going to be the future and is going to be the guy. Then within 2 years of him being there, we cut the coach and now we got another person in there. This is the pattern that goes on with the Cleveland Browns. This is exactly why I don't get excited about the NFL draft. This is why I don't get excited about the hype. This is why, the whole aurora of the draft itself is basically because of the Cleveland Browns. In actuality, because they have been this hype machine for as long as we have known
So the other side
or
of
given
what
a
I
shit
talked
about
about,
the NFL draft as you and I.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's
yeah,
always
yeah.
they're always
This is
within
how
the,
it goes. They get or they get a steal late in the draft and then
Right.
they end up not being good anyway.
they're always within like let's say the top 5.
Yeah. They always
Top 5 picks,
Their
right?
picks are always their top picks are
Consistently.
always for sure.
Top 5.
They've been in the top 10 almost my entire life.
And who is still relevant out of
They've had
all
one
those
winning
picks in
season.
the past
They've had one winning season since they came back.
over the last 8 years? Who is the most relevant player that they have drafted within the top?
Trent Richardson, and he's not good. Right?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the first name that Johnny Manziel obviously is the first name that comes to mind when you think of people Cleveland Browns draft in the last 10 years. But I'm trying to think of Trent Richardson is
The
the
running
one.
back who was on Madden's cover. Did we clown at one time? I
Oh
can't
yeah,
think of his
Peyton
name.
Hillis, but they
Peyton
didn't draft
Hillis.
him. I don't know if they even drafted him. He was like a fullback.
He was a running back, but
Was he a running back?
Yeah.
Well, he turned into a. I'm saying I think
Yeah,
he came
right.
into the league as a fullback.
Right.
Yeah, I know he was a running back for the Browns. I mean, I think he came into the league as a fullback.
pointing.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. The thing I actually wanted to bring up as well with the other side of this, because we were talking about Baker Mayfield, and we both, like I said, I would like to see Baker succeed, but we both said, well, no, I'm not talking about Baker. We both said in the beginning of the year, play Tyrod Taylor. What? That's the other side of this. Why, if Baker, because Baker, I'll be honest, Baker is not looking good right now, so why not put Tyrod Taylor back out there? You're not winning.
Sure.
And that's kind of part of it for me. That
You're just hanging around.
Yeah, right. You're kind of hindering yourself with a guy who might actually win you a couple games. We weren't talking 8-8, but other people were saying with Tyrod Taylor they might be 8-8. You know what I mean?
Saying the Browns will be better than that. That's crazy, man.
So that's all we have about Tyrod Taylor and the Browns. But we thought I was saying it might be beneficial moving forward now, especially if you're coming with a new coach. I don't like now because now you're in that position of like, what are you going to do? Play Tyrod Taylor, who you know is not the future quarterback for the rest of the year, right? So like,
So now in the next 2 years, we're going to be having this conversation. Yo, who the Browns going to pick our quarterback? And we're back in this dumbass cycle. And
they never went 8-8 like everybody told us they would. Now I said their ceiling was 6. I said if they win 6 games, that's impressive. That's 6 more wins than they had the year before, and few teams ever make 6-game leap.
Dwight's going to clip the last draft video we did, where he said this whole shit. Where
I just keep replaying it every year.
I'm so tired of this shit. This is why I don't care and don't get hype or excited about any of this.
JD Sports / other will just have the same clip running every year.
Cycle with the Cleveland Browns. And apparently they're cool with it. And you just fucked over Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield should be on the phone right now with his agent. His agent should be on the phone right now with the Cleveland Browns or Sports Center saying, you know what, fuck this, we're out.
Yeah,
because now he's going to be screwed.
Well, as of the beginning of this recording, everyone can't be traded anymore. But maybe this offseason he should think about it.
I'm just saying. You want to end up like everybody else, Baker? You should just become a baker at this point. Just start baking some fucking cookies out here or something. Go to Dunkin' Donuts because you'd be better off than playing for the Cleveland Browns.
So, talk about another disappointing franchise that you and I both said wasn't going to be as good as everyone said they were this year.
The Dolphins?
No.
Oh. That was the first name I saw on my list. Which I'm not wrong.
Ryan Tannehill is, by the way, let me just throw a stat out before
Everybody was hyping about Miami.
Before I get to the franchise,
I'll
stop. Before I get to the franchise that I was about to talk about, can I bring, because you know me, I'm a stat guy, can I tell you my favorite stat right now?
Go ahead.
There's 5 rookie quarterbacks that have played this year, right? So
I saw what you're about to say.
they have 5 of the 6 lowest QBRs in the NFL right now.
The rest are rookies.
Ryan Tannehill has the only one who is not a rookie. Yeah, there you go. I think he's like the 3rd lowest, but the other 5 around him, surrounding him, above him and ahead of him, combined.
So they should start Brock Osweiler.
I mean, I was, and you know what? I was one of those guys who was like, Tannehill doesn't have a lot of experience coming into the league, so we'll see how it goes. And as he's playing, I was like, he's been doing enough. He's been all right. Ever since the injury 2 years ago, he's just looked awful. Like he's just regressed. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, and Brock Osweiler isn't the answer, but if he won, you were 4-2, right?
Yeah, right.
So.
Yo, remember that girl I was talking to for 5 seconds? Dolphins fan. So there was a girl I was talking to for like 5 seconds. That was a Dolphins fan, right? But remember because we had like a whole 3-4 hour conversation just about the Dolphins, literally. But
only undefeated team in history, so don't forget that. It means so much in 2018.
I was well aware. But one of the things I brought up was the Brock versus Tannehill, remember? And
Yeah.
I said, y'all should probably
just go
start
with
Brock.
because you were like, Tannehill ain't that great.
I wonder how, I don't know how she feels now. I don't really give a shit, but.
I would say she's probably agreeing with you.
My petty ass is laughing now because I ain't talking to her 1 and 2. I was right.
Yeah, that's I do. I was a Tannehill believer, but only because he was getting better and better and better. And then after the injury, he's only regressed. And like, it's
I was like, as bad as Brock is, he's still better than fucking Ryan Tannehill.
It's getting a little.
I was like,
shaky.
okay. In fairness, I was like, I mean, Avert's still kind of out, but I would lean towards Brock is what I was going with.
Yeah.
She was like flat out no Tannehill.
Tannehill, right? And that's how everybody was. And
no.
Look, Brock hasn't proved anything in this league, but he hasn't proved anything more or less than Tannehill, and that's kind of where we're at on that one. As I said, I was a Tannehill guy before going to the year, but I am open to understanding that Tannehill isn't as good as he was before the injury for whatever reasons.
Maybe Baker Mayfield should just go Miami.
Ooh. Or Jacksonville.
At this point, I go Jacksonville.
So we started talking about Miami because we were talking about franchises we knew were going to be disappointing this year that everyone else thought was going to be good. I really meant to say Oakland.
That's your squad.
I didn't think they were going to be good this year. I said last year they were going to be good.
No, that's true.
I've been off them since the John Gruden signing. That was the moment I was like, all right, we're going in the wrong direction. And they've only gone in the wrong direction since then.
What, they 1-7 now?
They did get a first round pick for Amari Cooper, but that's it. That's the only good thing they've done this year. Sorry, didn't mean to throw a shot at you.
Unnecessary.
Yeah, you're right. That's true. My bad.
I ain't said shit about your nut ass. Okay, I did say shit about your nut ass Eagles.
They deserve it though. The Eagles deserve it.
You know what? All right.
They were bad this week.
We'll call it even. You're right. Call it even.
That's fine.
I did say shit about your nut ass Eagles.
To be fair, this entire show is built on us taking shots at our favorite teams. So. But anyways, back to Oakland. As good as I think Andrew Luck is, they made him look like a Hall of Famer all over again. It was awesome.
Right. First ballot, you're right.
He was killing it this
I
week.
understand why he's not in now. Oh, shit.
I will be honest, his QBR is really high this year from coming back and from injury, and I love it because it's like he never left, and he looks good, but he doesn't look as good as his QBR is saying he does.
That's why these stats mean nothing to Dwight.
His QBR does not. His QBR is way off the charts, and as good as he has looked, he's not that. Like he hasn't been as good as his QBR says. But
I can't even name a wide receiver on that team.
T.Y. Hilton, bro. Right. So good for him. He's doing it with T.Y. Hilton. Like good for Andrew Luck for being able to figure it out still with nobody. 2 years later, he came back and he was like, y'all still didn't get anybody. He was like, I left for 2 years and you didn't bring me in one guy to throw to since I left. Like you didn't think y'all brought Frank
Gore.
I was just gonna say y'all brought Frank Gore in, but nobody else. Like come on.
Frank Gore.
While all the wide receivers were getting traded, right? While all the wide receivers are getting traded,
got traded.
Right.
Deshaun was
good
like,
ones.
Good ones.
Yeah. The Colts were like, nah. T.Y. Hilton's our number one, and we're cool with it. That's wasting Andrew Luck's career.
Colts didn't want to give up another one if Amari Cooper got it. They're better off than the Cowboys.
They literally I would at least understand if they gave up a number one for Amari Cooper. So back to Oakland being trash in comparison. The John Gruden experiment, we talk about every week how you can't just fire him because then you got to pay him $10 million every year for the next 10 years. So now you're just stuck with this.
I understand. I'm pretty sure the Lakers still paying Mike Brown, so I understand.
Oh, damn.
I don't know that for a fact, but every time I hear a little tidbit about that, everybody's like, oh, the Lakers still paying that.
Hey, the Mets are still paying Bobby Bonilla from the mid-90s. So.
Right, for 20 years.
For 20 years.
I understand why they don't want to fire him. Because that's a bitch.
Bobby Bonilla gets his last contract paid out in 3 years. So he signed that contract in 97.
What a guy.
Best part about it is...
Hashtag goals.
Yeah, best part about it is he wasn't even like a 250 hitter. That's the greatest part about this. This guy was horrible. But yeah, I mean, and Oakland isn't even in the position to fire their coach because they're one of the few teams that can't pay two coaches at one time. So like they can't pay Gruden for the next 8 years and another coach. So they kind of just gotta wait till they get at least halfway through this contract to even fire him. So they got 4 more years of this at minimum, and that's if he doesn't turn it around.
And this is after he got rid of Khalil Mack, so it was like he didn't even make a right. It'd be one thing, okay, if he had this shitty record and he at least when he made that move, it would have been like, okay, well that move improved them. No, he made that move, which was
he made that move knowing they were this bad.
He made a terrible move on top of the fact that now the record is 1-6, 7, 8, or whatever the hell it is. He made that move on top of the record. So
the only
now
thing I can think,
he looks even worse than
the only thing I can think is they have all the draft picks in the world, so maybe trust the process. Like that's it right now. That's all they got right now. Like them and the Giants.
Trust the process. That means you getting one player out of everything over 5 years. Got it.
And I'll be honest with you, the NBA, if you can pick in the top 5, means a lot more than having a bunch of first-round picks in the NFL. Clearly, we all know that, right? So like, you can't change your franchise off of just one pick in the NFL like you can in the NBA. So the whole trust the process thing in the NFL is not a good idea unless you're in the long haul, unless you're in it for the long haul. And clearly the Raiders have to be in it for the long haul because they signed John Gruden to a 10-year deal. Other 4 o'clock games that happened in California. Somehow the Packers played a home game against the Rams. Did you see that? The crowd was like 85% Green Bay.
Dude, first of all, the 1 o'clock games were a snooze fest to me.
Yeah,
4 o'clock games
I
didn't watch 4 o'clock
I actually watched more 4 o'clock games than I did 1 o'clock games. What was I doing? Oh, I went to my parents' house, that's why. After the Eagles game, I went over
just
to
overall, I mean, like I said at the start of the show, just overall,
it was a blah week of football.
It was just a blah week. And in the 4 o'clock games, it was even worse to me, so I was just like, I'm good.
I watched more of the 4 o'clock games than I did the 1 o'clock games. I had it on, but I wasn't sitting down and watching. But the 4 o'clock games, I did pay attention to most of the second halves of them. The Green Bay Packers fans were like, it was like a home game in California for the Packers.
Yeah.
Which is not surprising because the team that they're playing played in St. Louis 2 years ago. But
that's funny because that just reminded me of your little tweet about how you were quote unquote so proud about Philadelphia going to England. You didn't even mention that.
Yeah, I am. That's pretty awesome.
That made me throw up when I saw
it's
that.
The first. It's the highest tickets. It is the most sold tickets ever for a London game.
So
it's pretty awesome.
So. Just your little tweet made me throw up inside.
Eagles fan base is notorious for traveling, though.
I'm so proud of our team.
Yeah,
I was like, what
it was
are you
awesome.
talking about?
It was really cool. I was proud of the fan base.
Or England was just hyped because they got a Super Bowl team.
The Patriots have played over there. The Steelers have played over there. The Packers have played over there. The only teams of the Big Four that haven't played over there are the Cowboys, and I expect the Cowboys.
I'm talking about teams that won a Super Bowl.
No, I'm saying I was thinking more along the lines of big fan bases. Like I thought the Patriots, Packers, and Cowboys. They are the three biggest fan bases. There's no question. There's no question about that.
Globally, logic would say that they would follow
who won those Super Bowl. Right? Okay, but I would think that the Patriots have a bigger global fan base than the Eagles right now.
Let me tell you how many people in London give a shit about a team that's red, white, and blue, New England Patriots.
That's true.
God, come on, or America's team,
from Boston.
Dallas Cowboys.
From Boston,
come on,
too.
man.
Right.
Come on, let's apply a little bit of logic. Okay, so I'm just saying, like they're gonna follow who the champion.
I guess history would be that, but
right. I'm just saying.
I thought it was still impressive.
It's not.
It was like a home game for the Eagles over in London. It was. I mean, it was, but I was.
It's not impressive.
Back to the LA one though.
That's not impressive either, because that's not really their hometown anyway, or their home stadium.
My bigger thing is because I was bringing that up on the fact of when they do play in that 111,000 people stadium, that just sounds like a disadvantage now for you. Right? Like, you're going to play in a bigger stadium than you are right now. It's already hard for your offense to play at home. I don't know. That was more what I was thinking when I was watching that game. When they move into an even bigger stadium, it's going to be harder for them to win home games. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Cowboys thing. It's the we can see you.
Right.
Okay,
you're right.
Want to see
travel.
you.
That's the traveling. Yeah. The Vegas thing is going to be the same thing. I keep saying that about the Vegas team. That's going to be everyone's away game they pick. They're going to want to go watch their team in Vegas. It's going to be away games for Vegas.
If I'm an hour away from the stadium, I can see you whenever the hell I feel like.
Okay.
I'm going to sell you on the idea that you're a fan of this team.
That's my road trip that year.
I'm going to double the price and give it to you.
That's my vacation this year.
Easy.
Okay.
So, I mean, that type of shit. Because I see it with the Cowboys all the time. That's why this type of thing with the Rams.
But I think the Cowboys, I think the first year of the Cowboys Stadium was like that. I think
still like that.
I don't know. I think the Cowboys fan base has shown out more at home over the last couple years.
Sure, but the numbers are still pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
About how many,
All right, I believe it.
Yeah, it is.
And outside of the Eagles games, I don't
It's gotten
really
better.
pay attention to the crowd of the Dallas. But yeah,
It's definitely gotten better, but it's still a thing. Absolutely, it's still a thing.
And that's crazy because Dallas plays much better at home recently than they do on the road.
That's subjective.
This year, they're undefeated at home.
No, we're not.
Yeah, they are. They're 4-0.
Want to try again?
Who they lose to at home?
Bro, I don't know these damn numbers off the top of my head. Would you like me to look back and find out?
Yeah, no, they beat the Giants, right? They beat Jacksonville. Yeah, I would like to find out because I thought they were undefeated at home.
That's why we need a stat boy.
Yeah, this is why we need a stat boy.
This is why we need a stat boy.
See if I can get
We lost. No, we won that. Huh.
Let me look up their schedule right here.
We lost to the Texans.
That was in Texan. That was in
That was in Dallas.
No, it was not.
Yes, it was.
At Texans. It's right here.
But then why do I have...
I'm telling you right now. Lost at Panthers, won at Giants, lost at Seahawks, won at home against the Lions, lost at Texans, beat Jaguars at home, lost at Redskins. Yeah, they're undefeated at home. They're 4-0.
Mazel.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was kind of shocked at what you were just saying.
Okay, well.
See, benefits of being a nerd. I know these things.
It's not a benefit.
I knew Quincy Carter's number 2.
It's not a benefit. They lost to the Redskins.
In Washington.
Yep.
The only reason I remember that is because Kruger blocked the punt and fell on it on the Redskins logo.
I only want to talk about that.
Anyways. The Rams, as good as they are too. Now, there was a World Series game going on. I don't count the Clippers game.
The what?
Yeah, apparently they played on that day as well.
Lob City?
And no one cares about hockey in LA. But I will say, I do, for a team as good as the Rams are, I thought they would at least get a little bit of momentum, fan base wise, in LA. I mean, no, they haven't.
If you're not named the Lakers or the Dodgers, no one gives a fuck.
and even with the Dodgers, they notoriously show up late for those games.
If you're not the Lakers, they don't care.
No, you're right. The Lakers are, and I knew that. The Lakers are clearly the tinsel of the town, but still.
We need to go to a Lakers home game.
I'm totally in. I want to go to Staples Center. I'll be working at an airport, so we're going to have cheaper flights soon. Being honest. Back to the game itself. Green Bay looked pretty good early, but that doesn't mean anything because the second half hit and the Rams, boom, 28-13. It was 13, I think, nothing at halftime, and then boom, the Rams are out here. And then the game got close, and basically, as everybody knows by now, the biggest part of the game is Ty Montgomery gets pulled out in the middle of the fourth quarter of a series, throws a fit, throws his helmet, gets mad, gets put back in the game to return the kick after the Rams took the lead. And apparently, on his way out to the field, McCarthy and another coach grabbed him and said, "Take a knee, because we want Aaron Rodgers to have the ball." And he didn't. He tried to take the ball out, presumably, I'm not in Ty Montgomery's head, presumably to prove the coaches that I'm worthy of being on the field. By the way, I watched the replay. The dude didn't even get to the 20-yard line before he was getting tackled and fumbled, so it would have worked out really bad anyways. Well, 25 is if when you take a knee, you get to the 25. He would have been tackled at the 18.
First of all, Aaron Rodgers is redundant.
No, agreed, but I'm saying you not only did you defy your coaches, you looked super silly in defying your coaches, and you looked even more silly because you ended up losing the football. Aaron Rodgers didn't even get the football. Todd Gurley obviously gets the first down, falls down, and the Rams win.
This is one of the most overblown, overhyped stories I've seen in recent memory.
I just thought
because
it was...
if my man doesn't fumble and he takes it out, regardless if he stops at the 15,
Oh, no,
not
okay.
having a conversation.
You're right. People aren't even talking about it, but I do find it interesting that an NFL player did that because the easiest thing to do is listen to your coaches. If you lose the game because you took the knee, it's your coach's fault, not yours. You know what I mean? Like I hear you, and it's not even talked about today. It's not even talked about. But it's a story, and that's why we're talking
because
about
they
it.
ended up trading him.
Yeah, well, I thought I would have talked about it before they traded him, but yeah, it turned into a bigger story because then subsequently.
This man takes out to the 40, he does a fumble, and he's a hero. So and he doesn't listen to the coach while doing that. So.
And then nobody talks about it, and you're not wrong there, and we don't even hear about it.
So
and I'd still probably criticize the fact of somebody doing that.
No, you wouldn't have. No, you wouldn't have. You tell if
Listen
this
to your
man
coaches,
would
man.
have.
Listen to your
knock it
coaches.
off.
It's the simplest thing to do.
If it would have came out, he didn't listen. He took the ball to the 40. He'd been like, "Yo, he just put Aaron Rodgers in a better decision. He's better. He's better making decisions than the coaches was." You would not have been mad. Knock it off.
I mean,
you would not have.
I might have said he's better at making decisions than the coaches, but I still would have said it's not the best idea to fire coaches in any like.
And what if they won then? Because you put Aaron Rodgers at the 40. We wouldn't even have this conversation.
And you're not wrong. It doesn't matter.
This conversation is so ridiculous.
You're not wrong in the sense of it doesn't matter if he starts at the 13 and at the 40. You have Aaron Rodgers. Just get the ball to Aaron Rodgers.
And then them trading him, it's one of the most petty, stupid moves. See, I don't understand.
I think that
the reaction to this.
I think the reason that he was traded was because he put turmoil in the locker room and
turmoil.
But if his teammates don't like him, if his teammates aren't going to respect him after that, if his teammates are angry at him to the point where. Okay, that's what the reports are saying. I'm not in their locker room.
Well, the same dumbass reporter
happening.
said Le'Veon Bell is coming to the Steelers week 7, 8. Here we are, week 9, and I'm still waiting. I'm just saying. So who gives a damn what the reporter said?
All right. And I'm not in their locker room, but if that is true, that Aaron Rodgers and because Aaron Rodgers is their leader, so clearly he's the first one. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not in their locker room. But what I'm saying is, if that is true, then yeah, that's why they traded him. I don't think it was his actions led to that, and that's what led to them trading him.
Please.
I don't know if it's true or not.
Please.
Would you be mad at a player for doing that if you were on a team?
I mean, I'd probably be annoyed by it, but am I trading him? No.
No. I'm saying if you were a teammate, would you just be mad at him to like?
Sure.
Okay,
and I'd get over it in 20 minutes.
All right. And
this is why this is one of the most overblown things I've seen, and the most petty thing I've seen in a long time.
Well, King of Petty, I thought you'd appreciate that one.
Well, I'm not stupid enough to trade somebody over something so ridiculous.
The other side of it is how good was Ty Montgomery. We talk about how he was a wide receiver playing running back for them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they don't have running backs. So I'm not saying it's the best idea to trade somebody who's playing a position that you don't have deep at. They made a worse decision in trading Clinton Dix, if we're being honest. Which we will get to when we start talking about trades later. This one specifically goes with this point. That's why we're talking about it now. But you know what I'm saying, though? Like, they don't have players at running back to trade, but it's not like we thought Montgomery was an elite player of any kind anyways.
He ain't a player that the Green Bay Packers should be willing to just be saying,
all right,
you defied us. You defied the quarterback.
I'll give you the side of the
Packers.
I'll give you the side of the Packers aren't in a position to be trading away players like that right now, even if he isn't one of their better players. Because they don't have roster. They're not doing well enough with the roster spots they've already filled. This is a waste of a year for Aaron Rodgers' career. And if you start looking at the last 5 years, they've wasted a lot of those years.
Next 3 is about to be that way.
And you start thinking about not saying he can't be like Tom Brady or Drew Brees or Peyton Manning, but because he's Aaron Rodgers, but like how long is somebody going to play at the elite level that Aaron Rodgers is playing? If you're wasting the last few years of his elite, if not the best, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, the way he plays. You know, I'm not saying he's the best, but people say that. And he's in the category of one of the best quarterbacks ever. We all know that by the numbers clearly. So if you're going to keep wasting years of his career, at what point are we like, I don't know what's going on here? I mean, they need to figure that out, right? Like, you can't.
At what point does he just say, I'm out?
He signed a very long contract this year, and that's the thing. He signed a 6-year deal this year for them.
That means so much.
In the NFL, it means more than other sports, but you're not wrong. He can get out of it. We're not even going to talk about San Francisco, Arizona. New Orleans taking on Minnesota.
I don't even know what we need to talk about there either, so.
The only reason I brought it up is because Kirk Cousins had a great game, and then in the fourth quarter, he threw that one play. He threw that one pick, and that's what the difference was. It ended up, I think it was a 10-point game overall, but 400-plus yards, and that was kind of Kirk Cousins in Washington, right? Like, great, didn't win the game, though. Yeah? Minnesota only has 2 losses, though, and one of them is to a 1-loss New Orleans team. So, I thought it was a good game overall. I watched more of the World Series game, but I watched part of it. I don't know, I like to see 2 elite teams going at it like that. We don't talk about the Monday night game. The Buffalo Bills had Shady McCoy take almost as many snaps in the first half at quarterback as they actually did their regular quarterback. That should tell you all you need to know. They lost.
Yep.
Brady, 16 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
Great.
That's a lot of interceptions so far early in the year. Brady usually doesn't throw 10 in a year. He's at 7, 8 games in. While the rest of the league is going in the opposite direction of throwing less interceptions and more touchdowns. Now he's 16 touchdowns. It's a lot.
He's an old ass man. What do you expect?
I was just saying the stat out there. It's just it's interesting for him. He's doing everything else well. He's just turning the ball over at a higher rate than I've ever seen him do.
Because he sucks.
Clearly. Dwight, any more talk about last week?
No, God, can we move on?
Trades?
What about him?
Demarius Thomas got traded.
Stupid.
4th round. Then they swapped 7s. He got traded to the Texans. Will Fuller got hurt last week, so they're going to try to fill him, which, not try to, they are filling his place with Demarius Thomas, a very good wide receiver.
So Houston is a good thing, a smart thing,
yeah,
a logical thing, and Denver, I'm not quite sure what you're doing, other than just starting over.
They didn't get anything but a 4th round pick in return.
Terrible. He's better. He's worth more than a 4th round pick.
It's kind of wild it's kind of wild that they couldn't get a player or something out of him to trade something of that caliber away. You made the Texans a lot better right now by doing that. Even if they had Will Fuller, if we're being honest, it still makes them better. I still make that trade if I'm the Texans, especially with the Texans winning the four or 5 games in a row that they had. They looked well offensively the last couple of games. His first game will be against Denver. That's pretty interesting.
It's generous of them, so he don't gotta go nowhere. That's
right? That's wild, right?
It's time to adjust
and it's
his
in
family.
Denver.
I appreciate that.
It's in Denver.
It's beautiful.
Another wide receiver traded, Golden Tate out of Notre Dame, traded to my favorite team, the Eagles. So I'm excited, obviously, for that reason alone.
Overrated on both ends. Got it.
The football aspect, I guess, that I want to talk about is Nelson Aguilar does better in the slot. Tate does better in the slot. And they're going to have to figure out who's going to be on the outside. The Eagles needed speed, so I'm glad they went out and got a wide receiver with speed. I'm interested to see how that works. Alshon and Ertz are obviously going to get the most of the passes thrown to them. Josh Adams kind of stepped up as the running back last week for the Eagles, but I would have liked to seen them be able to go out and get a running back. Not that running backs were really available to get, so...
I guess the Eagles found out their main problem, which was wide receiver.
No, and that wasn't their main problem, but I feel like they felt like they upgraded at a position where they knew they could upgrade at while they were out shopping for other things as well. I don't think that they were just like, we need a wide receiver, not a running back. I think what happens was they were offered a wide receiver and couldn't find a running back. And I don't know if they're happy with the way, because Josh Adams keeps getting more carries every week, so I'm starting to think that that's who they want to be their every down back by the end of the year. It seems like a slow progression. I thought they were going to go out and get a running back in the meantime, and they didn't. So I am interested to see how the running back situation works. I don't think Humphreys is really that good. Clement has not played well at all this year. Smallwood has shown flashes, but he's not your every down back, clearly. So that leaves you Josh Adams, and I'm just not sure about him yet. He's coming off an injury out of college. I mean, he was undrafted for a reason. So like I said, I don't know, like the Golden Tate thing, excited as a fan of Golden Tate, as a fan of Notre Dame, as a fan of the Eagles, but I'm not sure how it's going to work on the field itself. You know what I'm saying?
Your opinion doesn't count.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to be...
No, it doesn't count. Your opinion doesn't count.
You don't think I broke that down pretty well?
Your opinion doesn't count because by default you're saying Notre Dame and that doesn't count.
No, I said I'm excited as an Eagle. I'm not. I said I'm not sure if it's going to work. I have no idea.
Your excitement doesn't count because by default you say Notre Dame. Notre Dame, yeah, we got Notre Dame player.
Yeah, that's fine.
Where they play for? Yo, at Notre Dame, and Notre Dame.
But like I said, football wise, I'm not sure how it's going to work out. I hope it works out clearly as an Eagles fan.
It's not going to work out.
But you have to figure out how to get Alshon to play on the outside because personally, I think putting Nelson Aguilar on the outside because I think personally if you put Aguilar on the outside and Tate as the slot receiver, they're going to get more production that way, but I think they might rotate them for a couple weeks. We'll see in 2 weeks. The Eagles have a bye week. They have time to figure it out scheme-wise. I don't know if it's going to be that simple, but we'll see. Other trades, Dexter Fowler from the Jaguars got traded to the Rams. The important part of that is the Rams already had Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald, who, by the way, Aaron Donald has 10 sacks in 8 games this year.
But they need a pass rusher, right?
Yeah, they said they needed a pass rusher.
Stupid.
His career high is 11, and he has 10 in and a half of a season this year. By the way, 2 years in a row, that man didn't show up to training camp. Balling. Maybe everybody's going to stop showing up to training camp.
I would.
I mean, it's working for him, right? But him, Sue, Fowler, I mean, that makes it... Who you blocking? That's scary. And yeah,
I said in July, give them the trophy.
yeah, they are.
Philly, give them the trophy.
They're doing it. I mean, they have gotten as they're going for it clearly. 8-0, and they just got better. It's
theirs.
They're
It's theirs.
We'll see. We'll see. I think
Outside of a nut ass play, which is what I said last week. It's theirs.
And they're not going to have to go in the playoffs on the road at this rate, and that to me was going to be the biggest thing. If playing in cold weather, but now they're not going to. They're going to be in LA. I mean, they're not playing a road game at this rate. So,
no.
And their hardest road game on their schedule, I think, was Seattle, and they already played it. So.
Yeah, and that was so hard.
Right.
Seattle's so good anymore.
Yeah. But that's what I mean.
Kansas City's a threat. Other than that,
they play Kansas City at some point, and that's going to be a fun regular season matchup. But yeah, I mean that those are everyone's kind of picks for the Super Bowl. But I don't even know if Kansas City. They have a high-powered offense, and I guess that would be the argument, right? But what they just did defensively offsets that, yeah.
Yep.
So if they can get their cornerbacks healthy, which they will by the end of the season, if they can stay healthy, they clearly are the team. And then Clinton Dix is the only other trade I really wanted to dig into.
Stupid.
What did they get for him? A pick, right?
Ha.
Yeah, that's what they got for him. Washington got better.
It sucks
They're
for
helping.
us.
Yeah, it sucks for both of us. They're helping their secondary with that one.
Sucks for us. I don't understand what the hell Green Bay's doing. So
Just unloading again.
I don't understand what the hell they're doing.
Back to the Aaron Rodgers conversation we were having. You're wasting parts of his career.
Yep.
That's about it on trades. You got any more NFL news before we move on to basketball and then our picks? Quickly before basketball, shout out to FC. I should just say Football Club Barcelona, because no one's going to understand the initials. Beat the rivals, Real Madrid in the El Clasico this weekend, 5-1. It was fun without Messi. Luis Suarez balling, hat trick. Just one big soccer fan. That's my team. Back to sports you like. Me being a nerd, I figured you would like this stat.
You're a fucking nerd.
You remember the 7 seconds or less Suns?
Yep.
They would be the slowest pace of play in the NBA this year.
Great.
Isn't that wild? They were the fastest.
So incredible.
They were the fastest.
Bro, let me tell you how wild that is, bro. I'm about to go run out in the jungle real quick.
He doesn't like stats like I do.
No, because I don't care. Like, what? So? Okay.
It's pretty awesome. I pretty great stat. I think that shows where we're
awesome.
at in the NBA.
Man, awesome, incredible, amazing.
The reason I want to talk NBA, outside of Klay Thompson put up 50 points in 3 quarters this week. Didn't play the 4th.
Needed Steph last week.
50 points from Steph last week.
Yep.
41 twice from Durant in between. 50 from Klay.
Yep.
Boogie isn't playing until the new year. like, greatest team of all time conversations are definitely going to be thrown out there.
Still taking Jordan.
He never proved you wrong, so.
Sure.
Jimmy Butler. You were talking about the greatest ever, so I figured I'd bring up the other greatest ever, Jimmy Butler.
No, greatest ever. I need you nerds to understand. Greatest ever is a singular title. So clearly, when I say the GOAT, like you virgins like to say, that's a singular title. So clearly, that means Jimmy Butler.
Well, I was just gonna say, because Michael Jordan,
He is not.
he would have been traded for 4 first-round picks to Dwight.
Right.
Jimmy Butler's not worth that.
You gotta give him about 6, 7, 6 or 7.
The Houston Rockets were prepared to make the dumbest deal in the history of basketball by giving away 4 first-round picks and a player,
Eric Gordon,
a good player,
very good player.
for Jimmy Butler, who is good. Don't get me wrong. I like Jimmy Butler. He could be the number 2 or 3 star on a championship team. He's fantastic.
And then the Minnesota Timberwolves made a dumbest move in history of basketball by turning it the fuck down. Like, what the fuck?
Because they think Jimmy Butler for the next 4 months is worth more than 4 first-round draft picks and Eric Gordon. By the way, the Houston Rockets don't become a championship team by doing that.
That's what I'm like, I
So that's the best
texted
part
you when I
about
found
this.
this out. I was like, I'm glad they found their Golden State killer and Jimmy Butler. I'm glad Jimmy Butler, they found the answer. It's not Melo, it's not...
I love Melo, but I never thought he was going to be the difference.
That bum coming off the bench is not...
He's been
get
alright.
River Ariza. Knock it off. He's doing all right. Shut up.
Not doing great, not doing bad.
Knock it off. It's not getting rid of Ariza. It's not even getting rid of Eric Gordon. It's the combination of all of that, and then adding a Jimmy Butler. That is what's going to stop Golden State. Got it. But then Minnesota's ignorant ass said, "Man, we're good."
Yo, this dude literally came in here, yelled at the GM, yelled at the coach.
Which that doesn't bother me.
No, that doesn't bother me either. My thing is he yelled at them, right? Tried to embarrass them, and then they still don't want to trade him for 4 first-round picks. They still, after he did that, said, you know what, we like him enough that we're going to keep him for 4 first-round picks instead.
And my immediate reaction was, you would expect, in theory, on paper, that the Houston Rockets, let's say they made that move, they would be, even actually without him, they're going to be in the...
Last 15 picks every time.
Right, which means they're going to be good for the next 4
Right,
years.
yeah.
Right.
Like those 4 first round picks aren't going to be lottery picks.
You presume they're going to be
that.
easily top 5 in the West for the next 4 years.
They're going to be non-lottery picks no matter what. We agree.
So they being Houston may not necessarily lose in that sense, but
the idea,
right, says that that's a horrible idea, but then Minnesota declined that,
which is even worse. You could have had 2 first-round picks, one in the beginning of the round and one at the end of the round every year, or 2 at the end of the round.
Eric Gordon.
To
go into your starting lineup with Cat.
Wiggins and Cat and your 4 first-round picks over the next 4 years.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But that wasn't good enough. That was acceptable. And I remember I saw this and I sent it to you and you thought it was fake.
I literally was like, I don't believe this. I was like, there's no way they turned it down. I said, there's no way. I literally was like, I'll look it up and I believe you.
And then the next day, it blew up even more.
Yeah, I literally was like, I believe you. You're telling me you heard it from Woj and from Rachel Nichols. So I was like,
I saw Rachel Nichols quoted.
Yeah,
I was like,
and I was
what?
like, and I said to you, I was like, they are trusted sources. I was like, so you're right. But I was like, but I don't believe you.
And then Minnesota turned around and said, I bet you do now.
Yeah, that's why I was like, that's why I didn't believe you. Because they said no. Because you said they said no, I was like, that's why I don't believe it.
And then I found out after the fact. This was before the fact. I found out after the fact that Eric Gordon was in on it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
a guy that's going to start easily for your team.
For any team.
Holy shit.
They said no, Dwight. So what? All right. So now, what's more egregious, right? Them drafting Ricky Rubio 1 draft pick before Steph Curry, or turning down 4 first-round draft picks 8 years later, 6 years later, whatever it is, 7 years later. They picked Ricky Rubio 1 pick before Steph Curry.
It's so easy to say Steph, but it would have to be the 4
Right. Like Steph, yeah, of course, changes your franchise, but like
you'd assume 1 out of the 4 maybe would change it.
And then you have 2 of the 4 to change your franchise.
1 of the 4 is going to change your franchise. Maybe you get a second one that's solid enough.
Because you will have 8 picks in the next 4 years in the first round, or you have Jimmy Butler for 4.5 months. You choose.
Damn.
And Eric Gordon. So Dwight and I decided we really needed to clown these 2 franchises for a little bit. So
I'm glad. And John Gruden's out here saying thank you. Somebody took the attention on my ass.
That's true. And you know what? You know what would be even better is if the Timberwolves GM came out and said, I wish we had more first-round picks now.
It's really hard getting top overall pick now.
Really wish we had a couple more first-round picks, he should say.
It's not easy getting,
I think he's
it's really hard getting
I think he's waiting for a team like the Magic to offer him 5.
Yeah, I mean, it might. It's really hard out here getting more than 1 overall pick or first-round pick, and it is really hard on top of that to then get a solid player back in return.
Man.
In an Eric Gordon. It's really hard to get that.
Except a team offers you that. But seriously, okay, let's say it would have happened. What the hell are the Houston Rockets thinking?
But you still get beat by Golden State.
For the next 4 years.
For the next 4 years.
And then you lose Melo within that time frame.
Oh yeah, you lose probably the next 2 years. You're gonna CP3
is
isn't gonna be
probably
this
older
good for
if
the
he's
next
not
4 years. He's gonna be good, but he's not gonna be this good for the next 4 years.
Right. So you're gonna have Harden and Butler.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as good as James Harden is, that puts him on a 10-year vet at that point, or 11-year vet at that point. You know what I mean? Like, you're getting towards the end of everything. If you have no championships at the end of that, that is as bad as Washington trading away their entire draft for Ricky Williams once. Or was it? No, the Saints did that. The Saints traded to Washington. The more egregious thing was Washington was still really bad for the next 4 years after they already had an entire another draft. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So one more NBA franchise to clown while we're here.
Who's that?
The Cleveland Cavaliers decided they needed 6 games to know if they wanted Tyronn Lue still or not. I don't know what they learned in the last 6 games about Tyronn Lue that made them think that he wouldn't be the coach for them, but they learned a lot, and they learned enough that they think he shouldn't be their coach anymore.
Good for him. He can go anywhere he wants.
I think he won the lottery.
Yeah, I think he did too. I
mean,
was like, he won. I saw that, I said he just won.
J.R. Smith woke up that day and was asking why he wasn't fired.
He said, can I go too?
He's like, I'm 0-6 too.
The Henny God said, I'm out.
Yeah. J.R. Smith is probably questioning why Tyronn Lue didn't get him fired as well. So, my biggest question to you is, are the Cavs back to being the most dysfunctional organization in the NBA? Like, things like this, how did you not know a month ago?
After what just happened with Minnesota.
Okay, all right, but are they in the conversation at least again? Because whatever you learned in the last 3 weeks that you didn't know 3 weeks ago about Tyronn Lue is not enough to fire anybody. So it just shows the dysfunction of how bad the Cavs are overall.
Garbage.
There's no words for it. Like, it's beyond I don't get it.
It's garbage.
Dwight, the things we do apparently get. Picks?
Sure.
You went, what, 13-1?
Yep.
I don't know my overall record. What's yours?
I'm 64, 41-2.
I don't know. I went 12-2 last week. I'm going to figure it out. I'm not far behind you or far ahead of you either way. We know we're around each other. I will figure it out. This week's picks, I gotta find them. Hey there.
I'm not watching this game this Thursday.
I was just gonna ask you.
I am not watching this. Who's playing on TNT NBA wise?
You you think you got better things to do than to watch Oakland take on San Francisco?
Yeah, go to fuck the bed.
So I'll be honest with you. Fox, when they bought the Thursday night matchups, right? They were like, oh, okay, Gruden versus Jimmy Garoppolo. We'll see what Oakland looks like by then, but not a bad matchup.
I think one team's 1-6 or 1-7 at this point.
And the other one has 2. Yep.
I'm
CJ Bethel.
straight. Straight.
Dwight, I'm not even.
Is this going to be on Fox or is this going to be an NFL Network? I'm really curious.
Well, it is on Fox, but I think the NFL Network should just make it an NFL Network exclusive.
I mean, I pay money. I pay extra money just to get it. I'm just going to stream it on fucking Twitter or something.
Who are you picking? Yeah, no, same.
Oakland.
Oh, wow. I got San Francisco.
This nigga said, oh, wow, that goes up.
Well, my point landed on San Francisco. I was shocked yours landed on Oakland.
I mean, it was 50-50. What the fuck you mean? The fuck?
That's why I had that reaction.
He said, oh, wow, that guy really went out there. Like, not at all.
Yeah. Sarcastic.
No, you were serious.
No, I picked San Francisco and CJ Bethel for the first ever time. I have no idea who's gonna win that football game, I'll be honest.
I should probably take San Francisco because Oakland can't get no pressure on the quarterback.
Dude, I won't find out until Sunday who won that football game if we're being honest.
I won't find out till Monday if I'm really being honest.
You won't find out till we record the show next week. Pittsburgh.
That's kind of how it happened on.
Pittsburgh taking on Baltimore this week on the 1 o'clock matchup. Good news for the Steelers fans in our area. They can watch them this week because Baltimore has played over them the last 2.
How many times does that happen?
It happens a lot
all
lately.
the time. Why don't y'all motherfuckers just go to games? Why don't the NFL just fucking show the game?
Put the Pennsylvania team on in Pennsylvania. That would be weird, Dwight.
Yeah. Again, this was another coin flip, but
this is a coin flip for better
took
reasons,
Pittsburgh.
though.
Yeah, I took Pittsburgh.
I took Baltimore, but it might be the last week I'm trusting Baltimore. It's going to be the last week. If they come out like they did last week, that would be two teams that I find are playoff potential caliber teams that they couldn't stand up with. They beat Pittsburgh handily in Pittsburgh, though, and that's kind of what makes me think that they might have a chance here. But you never know. It's a good rivalry, and that always happens back and forth. Jets taking on Miami. I know this one was really easy for you.
Miami.
I picked Miami too, but
Really easy, even though I hate Miami, and I'm so glad they
I was
fell
being
off.
sarcastic. I
This
thought
is-
it was going to be hard for you because you don't believe in Miami any more than you do the Jets, but
I'm just glad Miami fell off as hard as they did, as I predicted.
yeah, that's for sure. Neither of us thought they were going to sustain it, but they have plummeted to right where we thought.
Right.
Atlanta going to Washington. It was hard. It feels like it shouldn't be. We both wanted to be fooled and pick Atlanta. I picked Washington because outside of Matt Ryan, I don't know. Atlanta just seems like something's going on.
I don't understand what's going on in Atlanta.
I don't know.
And on the
Defense was
road, they
good.
really don't.
They're even worse, and that's why I went with Washington because it's kind of it's questionable even at home right now for Atlanta.
I hear you, but I went with Atlanta. Because in theory, they should.
They should.
Win
They're the
this.
more talented team. I still even think. Even a 2-5 or 2-4, whatever they are, I still do think they are more talented than the 5-win Washington Redskins. Man, I think it's the Alex Smith effect, and that's annoying.
I don't know what the hell.
That's super annoying. Tampa Bay taking on Carolina.
Carolina.
All right. We don't even. You don't even have to ask me. We know what I'm going with. Chicago taking on Buffalo. Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Derek Anderson's still the quarterback of Buffalo.
Yeah. Buffalo are who we thought they were.
Do I have to ask you about Kansas City and Cleveland?
No, you just keep moving.
All right. Detroit taking on Minnesota. We both took Kansas City in case anyone's wondering.
This is why Jerry Sports Suns.
No, I feel like that's why people will like us. Because they agree.
I'll take Minnesota.
I took Minnesota too. Detroit's been hot and cold all year, but I think that they were selling at the trade deadline, and I feel like that kind of the locker room felt that, and I feel like that's one of those things where Minnesota's the better team. I think we all agree with that.
I'm just glad Marvin Jones is about to step over my fantasy team.
That's true. Houston going to Denver. Demaryius Thomas playing in Denver for the first time as a non-Bronco in his career, but for the 5th time this year.
I don't know why the hell I have the Broncos. I do not have the Broncos. I'm taking the Texans.
I was going to say, I took Houston.
I don't know why the hell.
I took Houston before the trade, but I definitely have them after the trade. I was kind of up in the air because I think Denver has a decent defense. I just don't trust their offense. Now that I know that Houston has the Broncos' best offensive player, I'm definitely taking Houston.
Yeah.
That and they've just been rolling. Houston's offense has been rolling, and their defense hasn't been great, but it's been good enough. And Clowney and Watt have been as dominant on that defensive line. Maybe not numbers-wise, sacks and all that, but they have gotten the pressure to the quarterback that you expect from those two talented players. I'm taking Houston because of it. The Rams taking on New Orleans. This is a pretty heavyweight matchup of two NFC teams, 2 weeks in a row for New Orleans.
Yeah, this might be the game of the week.
This one's in New Orleans. Last week was in Minnesota for them, so they have the home advantage here, and we all know how good they are at the Superdome.
Actually, this is the game of the week.
This is by far the game of the week. I agree with you. It's 4 o'clock game too.
Yeah. Actually. Damn, so I'm gonna have to watch this Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm taking the Rams. This is the prove it game. Go to New Orleans, beat a 5-1 football team. Obviously, we all know how we feel about Drew Brees. You and I both are. We love Breezes. This is that prove it game, though. I think that if they can go on the road and the Rams can do it, then I don't see anything stopping them from here on out. But I do think this is the game where New Orleans might step up and make their name. I'm taking the Rams. I think their offensive power is too good. And I think that, especially with the trade they just made, their defense is going to get to the quarterback all the time. And, Breeze is not as mobile as he once was, clearly. And that's going to be, I think, the difference. But it is going to be close, and I wouldn't be shocked to see New Orleans come out here and do it.
I'm never shocked to see Saints win at home.
Never.
I think this is a pretty game for the Saints, even.
Both.
If the Saints get this, man, that's a.
Oh yeah, no, that is. We start talking about them as the Rams' opponent. I mean, in the NFC.
Right, and they're at home too, so Breeze just always shows up there.
Yeah, this is.
I took the Rams.
But it's
because
there.
Overall,
it's right there.
I would say that's clearly the better team.
Yeah.
But that's not a.
But I know what you're saying. I know that feeling you're having about this right now. I have the same feeling you do about this.
The Rams aren't going undefeated.
Yeah,
if they could lose a game, this could be the game that they lose.
Exactly. They're not going undefeated. So that's the thing. Is this the one?
It very well could be.
And that helps confidence. We always talk about how confidence for these teams sometimes is all it takes, and that helps confidence for New Orleans going forward, especially the way they've been playing so far this year. Outside of that one game against Tampa at home this year, they have been off the charts good.
If the Saints win this game,
they might be the favorites.
I was gonna say they become a perennial favorites easily in NFC.
You got to beat the man to be the man, and they beat the man at that point. So why not?
In NFC.
The only thing I would say is they would have to go to LA in the playoffs if they lost more games, obviously. Because if they win, then they're even, and they have the tiebreaker at 6-1. Well, they would be a game behind them technically because of their bye, but whatever. Point being is they would both only have one loss, and the Saints would have the tiebreaker. So they would be the home team if they were to win this game and everything held going forward. Obviously, it's not going to. The NFL is notorious for getting crazy after November. We're heading into November, so it's going to be that time of year. But yeah, I mean, halfway through the season, this is going to be one of the better matchups.
Easily.
Not one of the better matchups, but one of the better quarterback matchups that we are ever going to get. The Sunday night game could have been until they traded Ha Clinton Dix.
I'm saying I'm not watching Patriots.
Yeah, clearly I'm taking the Patriots to beat Green Bay as well.
Shouts to my ass for saying they were done, and here they are winning. They have 2 losses now.
Yeah, they're doing it.
So much for looking old and done. Shouts to Dwight.
Yeah. And that's the thing with the Patriots. Like, I always want to get to that point, but I just always get scared right before I do it.
At some point,
I know, and I'm with you, and I just haven't gotten there. Like, I keep saying to myself, it has to be the time. What did I just say? I told you about Brady before. 7 interceptions this year. It's very unlike Brady. Like, it's at some point it's got to happen, but yet it hasn't. And that's kind of where, like, obviously we're not.
Let's see what happens.
Obviously we're not saying against.
I was
gonna say obviously we're not saying against Green Bay that this is where the fall starts happening. But eventually there has to be something. I will say the Monday night game against Buffalo, they struggled, and they don't struggle in Buffalo often. So maybe that's the signs. I mean, even though they're still winning close against teams that they usually blow out might be our signs that we're looking for. The Monday night game, clearly your Dallas Cowboys hosting. Last year's Super Bowl champions, according to our friend, Tennessee Titans.
I play Madden, so I got it.
I took Dallas. I do think that Dallas at home, like I said, is what has gotten me. I think that Tennessee's good enough to go on the road and win, but I've just picked against them all year, and even though they keep proving me wrong, there's just something about it that I'm not trusting. I'm taking Dallas in this one.
I don't think Tennessee's good enough to win on the road. And in a big spotlight game in prime time, I'm taking Dallas.
As good as Mariota has been overall, the rest of the team has really looked bad for the most part, and he's carried them through a lot of those wins. And then their coaching decisions at the end of the game in London, not last week, the week before, shows you where they're at. So that's why we're both going to take Dallas on that one. Dwight?
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty fun, energy-packed show.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good week this week. Good luck on your Monday night game. See you the week after.
Not gonna need it. Shout out to I watched WWE Evolution pay-per-view.
I was gonna ask you because we definitely have more to talk about.
I did watch that women's pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. It wasn't great. A phenomenal match between Becky Lynch and Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
All wrestling fans should go out and watch it. It was like 28 minutes. They tore the roof down.
I haven't done it, but I'm going to.
Very, very good match. That's the type of match that is why the women now have their own pay-per-view. So shouts to them, Becky and Charlotte. They tore the house down. This coming week is actually the Saudi Arabia show on Friday at noon is when it's going to take place on East Coast time, which It's been confirmed it is actually happening in
I was
Saudi
going to
Arabia.
ask you what happened with that.
Yeah. WWE.
How's the backlash for that? Are people...
It's mainstream media got a hold of it before they even announced that they were actually going to go through with it. So I haven't seen what's happened in the past week as far as the media, but I'm sure it's not good because it was a good lean up
How's
to
the fan base
potential.
How does the fan base feel about it? The WWE
Oh, not happy.
universe?
Not happy.
And that's kind of
Even
where I was
this
at.
on Monday Night Raw, I was watching the end with Undertaker and Kane. They came out calling out DX, which is going to be the main event.
Yeah.
And even Undertaker was like, "Oh, this Friday at Crown Jewel," and the fans
Place booed it.
booed it, and I was like, "Wow."
And when
Coming
Taker,
from the Undertaker.
and what I was gonna say, when Taker's talking, no one boos. I mean, that's
No,
you
ever.
never hear that. So that shows you where they're at with it. All right, that's the
Right.
pulse. That's what I was
Right.
looking for.
Right. Yeah. That's not a good look. That's not a good.
Pretty
sign.
deservedly so.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Absolutely.
Um,
It's not a good call. They should have changed venue. Should have changed location.
My question to you, back to the women's pay-per-view. We talked about Ronda's storyline a while back, and we never really revisited it. Do you like how they're handling the situation with her from beginning to now? Like how they built her to this point? Because we talked about how we didn't like early, like super early. I'm talking less than 3 matches in. You and I were very, we don't know. We like it, but we don't know. We don't know. Here we are. We have more months, not a lot, but more to talk. We never revisited, and I just want to know where you're at on that.
Overall, I think they've done a better job of making her into. Well, I was gonna say they've done a better job of making her a monster, but actually, I can't even say that because she just had this match with Nikki Bella, where Nikki Bella, who isn't known
She
as
destroyed Nikki Bella.
right,
Clearly, yeah,
right.
I got you.
The Bellas, they're not even known as wrestlers, let alone
They're
being
divas.
tough in real life.
Right.
And the fact that she was competitive against Ronda, the fact that she still had her sister to distract Ronda, kind of, right, it helps that narrative.
Yeah,
but
she had a
it's
chance.
still, I still don't like it. They put, nobody blame, the thing with Ronda, and it's been the case pretty much since she started, is they rocketed her into this position.
She as the superstar,
Right, and
instead of a superstar.
she is still way overachieving
Right.
where she should be right now.
Yeah, okay.
Even
Okay.
as a champion. Just her experience alone, she should not be as solid as she is. But the fact is, they put her with Nikki Bella, who has years of experience, and it's garbage. Kind of just, brought it down a couple levels.
Okay.
Um,
And that was another thing. She was the main event of that pay-per-view that you did talk about, and that was another thing I wanted to bring.
and she shouldn't have been.
Right,
She
clearly.
shouldn't have been.
And that was kind of, but as
That's
you...
based on name value.
Yeah, and we've talked about that more than once on this show.
WWE banks on name value. They got Rousey versus Bella.
The clicks
They're
on the
banking
internet
that.
means more than actually putting together a better show sometimes.
Old ass DX versus old ass Undertaker Kane is going to headline the
Right.
pay-per-view this
The clicks
Friday.
on the internet are better than the actual show sometimes.
Because the name value alone,
And-
regardless
yeah.
of on paper
Right.
and what could potentially be the best match, they don't go with that. They go with the name versus the actual wrestling, which is the shame of it, actually.
My last question is not that they're going to do it, but what do you think the best idea with Ronda moving forward would be then in this situation?
Well, the crazy thing is they had a battle royal at the Evolution pay-per-view.
Mhm.
Nia Jax won,
Okay.
and now she's the number one contender.
That'd be a
I'm
good
cool
matchup.
with that. I'm cool with that because if Nia would beat Rousey, you could see that.
That's a beast.
Right,
Yeah.
she got an extra 100-some pounds
Yeah,
on
right,
her.
right.
That is logically the way to go.
Yeah, it's a good
if
fight.
Ronda would lose.
That's okay, all right.
But actually, at Survivor Series, they already just announced this week it's going to be Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey, which is solid from a wrestling perspective.
Yeah.
But you still wouldn't go with a Becky Lynch in that situation.
all right.
Ronda Rousey's undefeated in WWE.
And the way to make her lose would be against a Nia Jax. Yeah.
Right, somebody that's 150 pounds bigger
Right,
than her.
yeah.
You're like, okay, I got it.
And she has to then overcome and defeat. That would be
Got
a better
it.
story. Okay.
It makes more sense.
All right, yeah. I completely agree with that.
So, makes more sense. Real quick, as far as, because I mentioned it last week, John Cena is not showing up at the Saudi Arabia pay-per-view this Friday.
Because he said he wouldn't, right?
He said he wouldn't, and he was officially replaced on Monday, even though they try to make it into some story, but everybody knows. He said, I'm not coming.
Because, yeah, he's super for it.
Verdict's still out as of recording about Daniel Bryan. The fucked up part is he's in the WWE title match.
So he kind of needs to be there, sort of, for them.
Verdict's still out. We'll find out as of, I guess, this recording tonight
Yeah.
if he's going to show up or not. This is not a good look. They shouldn't have shown up. They shouldn't have attempted to fulfill this obligation. They could have just waited like a couple months. They could have delayed the show and then came back even.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that.
Yeah, and as you said, they have a contract with them to do so many shows over there, so it's not as easy for them to just say we're not going to do the show, but to move it around what happened might have been
It
beneficial.
would have made more sense. The crazy thing is,
Do you see?
Saudi Arabia has a shitload of money. And
Yeah.
this is the thing. The prince or whoever it is has thrown this money. This is why Shawn Michaels come
Yeah.
back. This is why these names are coming, because they said, we're going to give you a couple million if you show up. I didn't even say this on the show before. When this deal initially went down, you know who Saudi Arabia asked for? They didn't ask for Stone Cold or The Rock, but you know who they asked for?
Hulk Hogan.
No, but you're in the right frame. They asked for the Ultimate Warrior. He's dead. They asked for Yokozuna. He's dead.
Why are they at?
Yokozuna hasn't wrestled on WWE in like 25
Why
years.
would they even?
They have no clue. They just know these names and these stars. Right. This is the
I
level.
literally, when you said who, my first thought was Hogan. Everyone around the world thinks.
Right. No, they wanted Ultimate Warrior and
Wow.
Yokozuna.
I mean, I'm glad they're in the
From like
wrestlers
28
we like,
years
but
ago.
like, at the same time, not a good idea. Do you think that a belt would change hands on a Friday in Saudi Arabia anyway? So you were talking about back to the Daniel Bryan thing real quick.
As far as that match, no. But because of the Roman Reigns thing, it's going to have to.
Okay, and so is that title up for it?
Brock is going to be. It was supposed to be a triple threat. Now it's just going to be Brock versus Braun Strowman for the Universal
Who was the
title.
other one?
It was going to be Roman.
Oh, okay.
It was going to be a triple threat. Now it's just
Oh,
Brock
okay.
versus
Well, that'll be a good
Strowman.
match. I think Braun's gonna win.
He better fucking.
They're Jesus. Now I keep hearing that his storyline is going to be pushed heavy. Do you think it's a good idea for them to just keep picking one guy to push upon everybody? Like, I know Braun is very liked, and he is a guy that we would both be like, this is a good idea to have as a title holder, but pushing one guy over and over, like, no one liked Cena, no one liked Roman Reigns, you know what I mean? Like, keep pushing one guy over and over and over as your one guy instead of trying to push a bunch of superstars.
And that's the problem. This is why Saudi Arabia is saying, give me somebody that's been dead for 15 years.
Okay, and so basically,
That's the problem.
it's not Braun, but the idea of pushing one guy. Not
Honestly,
the
I'm surprised. Honestly, I'm surprised Saudi Arabia hasn't said, give me Stone Cold and The Rock on top of this.
At this point,
And they would show up. Like,
I mean, why not? I don't
The
know if
type of
Stone
money
Cold would, but
yeah, he would. This money, I never thought Shawn Michaels would come back because he's been very, very adamant
I
saying.
know for the same reason Cena's not going.
Shawn Michaels has said for the past 8 years, and he's been offered many times, come back for
Sure.
WrestleMania, come back versus AJ Styles, come back versus this person, and he says no. Saudi Arabia said, I'm going to give you $1 million or more, it's presumed to be more, and he said, okay, whatever.
There you go.
So I would presume Stone Cold, as much as he's been saying no, 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 I would think if they said here's $1 million, he'd be like, alright, shit. That's more than WrestleMania money at that point.
Man, I feel like The Rock would need a little more money though. I feel like The Rock's making
Sure.
that. You know what I mean? The
Yeah,
Rock's,
now,
the
yeah,
Rock's
right.
on that level right now, just doing other
But
stuff.
just to show for go there for 3 days.
For 3 days, literally be in the ring for less than a half hour, make $1 million. No, you're not wrong about that. And obviously The Rock already trains vigorously all the time.
Right.
Still, we all know his workout. So, all right.
Pay me fucking $1 million
We'll
show
go,
for
yeah.
30 minutes.
JD Sports will go announce it.
Bet.
That'd be fun, actually.
I'd be so
I feel like it'd be better for the people. We'd be better than Michael Cole.
There's some other jokes I was going to give, but I'm just going to let it go.
All right.
I want to keep my head.
Dwight, as I said, I thought it was a good show. Energy packed. See you next week. This has been JD Sports. Thanks for watching.
Keep your head up.
Keep your head up.